Men in China account for 1/8 of the global population, but smoke 40% of the world's cigarettes. That is more than 2 trillion cigarettes. China exists as a global anomaly in the global decrease of cigarette smoking. Smoking worldwide has seen a decrease globally in recent years. Yet China resists the norm. Why? With the health risk becoming more apparent, nations are acting to decrease smoking, to prevent its population from premature deaths, and to promote healthy lives. Does China not care about their population? This video will showcase the health risks of cigarettes, Chinese culture behind cigarettes, and the extent to which the Chinese Communist Party is attempting to decrease smoking in China. Smoking in early adulthood takes on average 10 to 15 years off of your life. The Framingham study looks at cigarette smokers and non-smokers alike over a range of 34 years. The results were undeniable. Smokers experienced 2 to 5 times risk of getting lung cancer compared to people who had never smoked. Death rates for moderate smokers are 40 to 80% higher compared from moderate smokers to never smokers. Another shocking statistic. The future of China is in danger. By the 2030s, up to 3 million deaths a year could be accounted to smoking-related causes. The overwhelming statistics in China indicate that this country is years behind any other country in terms of their huge numbers of smokers, and with the danger to one's health obvious to the individual and society. How has the culture of smoking come into being? In China, cigarettes are not just a product, they represent a deep cultural tradition and a vital economic force. Together, these two elements form the biggest obstacles to effective tobacco control policies in the country. Culturally, smoking is a powerful social ritual. Offering cigarettes is a gesture of respect and a way to strengthen personal and professional relationships. At gatherings, cigarettes are shared to foster trust and camaraderie, especially among men. Premium cigarette brands symbolize wealth and social prestige, making them popular gifts in both formal and informal settings. For women, however, societal stigma limits their participation, reflecting traditional gender norms. These deep-seated customs make it challenging to reduce tobacco use, as smoking remains intertwined with social identity and tradition. Economically, the tobacco industry is a cornerstone of China's national and local economies. As the world's largest tobacco producer, the industry contributes substantially to government revenue, with taxes like the value-added tax and leaf tax playing a critical role. For instance, in 1997, tobacco taxes accounted for 11% of the central government's revenue, and local governments receive a 25% share of the value-added tax on cigarette production, creating strong incentives to promote tobacco cultivation and sales. Regions like Yunnan and Guizhou depend on tobacco farming to sustain local economies, while millions of jobs in farming, manufacturing, and distribution rely on the industry. The revenue it generates supports infrastructure and public services, making it a vital economic driver. In the past, China had declared several policies regulating tobacco consumption. In 1984, China established the China National Tobacco Corporation, monopolizing the industry. In 1994 and 1995, China implemented a tobacco consumption tax and banned public advertising of tobacco products. The taxation of tobacco products was revised multiple times from 1998 to 2015, with the most recent amendment adjusting the ad valorem tax of high-end and low-end tobacco products to 56% and 36%. Additionally, the consumption tax rate was raised to 11%, and a specific tax of 0.005 pre-cigarette was introduced. China joined the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control on January 9, 2006, agreeing to implement measures that regulating tobacco consumption and reducing its health impacts. On May 20, 2009, the Ministry of Health mandated smoking to be prohibited in all health agency offices and medical institutions by 2011, however, but specific national laws on tobacco control remain lacking. While the government has banned public advertisement and promotion of cigarettes, requiring graphic health warnings on cigarette packaging can deter more citizens from smoking. Additionally, banning the adoption of appealing concepts in the brand names and packaging is also essential. Strict smoking laws should also be enforced in public areas such as restaurants and public facilities nationally, rather than allowing provinces to tailor regulations upon their economic and cultural conditions. China could also follow Hong Kong's example by facilitating smoking hotlines and cessation services in major cities to support citizens in quitting. The average tobacco retail tax in China is at around 52%, and the affordability of cigarettes is increasing in recent years. To combat this, the government could impose a higher tax to further discourage smoking to match global averages at around 60%. New policies should also aim to reduce the reliance on tobacco tax revenue, especially in major tobacco-producing provinces like Yunnan and Sichuan, such as incentives for tobacco farmers to transition to alternative crops and stricter regulations on tobacco agricultural cultivation. The tobacco situation in China is multifaceted, but requires a rapid response which prioritizes the health of the people rather than the economic health through policymaking. The strong cultural significance of smoking as a social ritual and the economic reliance on the tobacco industry makes it difficult to enforce effective tobacco control policies in China. China has the capacity, through large investment in modern surveillance, to track individuals. Smoking habits could be tracked through CCTV and facial recognition, fines for smoking where one should not. Data can be gathered to analyze and prevent smoking through behavioral insights. This data could be valuable to assess cessation policies and their real-world impact too. All of this is possible for China through surveillance, yet they don't use it. China's tobacco policies reflect biopolitics, where the government controls the health of its population, often with economic goals in mind. The government's focus on tobacco is shaped by the need to protect revenue from the tobacco industry and jobs in tobacco-growing regions. As a result, public health often takes a back seat to economic stability. This has led China to be slow in implementing strong tobacco control policies, prioritizing its economic interests over the health of its citizens. With the health risks of tobacco consumption apparent, and China topping the global deaths from tobacco-related deaths, what will make China protect its citizens? The current cessation policies in China simply do not work. When will the deaths be too much?